Hi, my name's Danny. What's your name?
Hi, I'm Alexa.
Nice to meet you, Alexa. Before we get started here, I wanted to let you know that everything you say stays between the two of us, um, except in the case of you telling me that you are planning to harm either yourself or someone else. And also, it's an agency-specific policy. If there's any instances of child abuse brought up to my attention, I will also need to step in and let outside sources know. But otherwise, everything is completely confidential between the two of us.
Okay.
Is all that understood?
Yeah.
All right. So, can you let me know what brings you in today?
I am having some problems with my family at home.
Okay. Can you tell me any kind of problems that maybe take priority over the other problems?
Um, I just found out that I'm pregnant, and I'm only 18. I don't want to be pregnant. I definitely want to have an abortion, and I told my parents that, and they're super against it.
Okay. Um, when did you find out you were pregnant?
3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago, and you told your parents right after that.
Yeah.
So the only instance you've had speaking with your parents about this is the moment immediately after, and that was about 3 weeks ago.
No, I mean, it's been kind of the whole main conversation for the past 3 weeks at home.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have a normal conversation about anything, and then somehow or another that kind of just it evolves to um, them not supporting my decision and not wanting to help me, even if I did have the baby.
Mm-hmm. Um, so you say the topic of your pregnancy that it can spurn from any conversation. It seems like.
I mean, it just gets brought up sometimes. We'll
Mm-hmm.
talk about, we'll be watching something on TV, and then it kind of just ends up transitioning into more about me, and
Mm-hmm.
they're not supporting me.
Well, do you know why exactly they do not support you?
I think it's just their beliefs. Maybe it's the old people beliefs. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. Um, but they kind of just consider it murder and not.
Mm-hmm. Do you not and you don't feel that it is murder yourself?
No.
Okay. So am I correct in assuming that the only thing keeping you from getting the abortion is your parents' attitudes towards it?
Yeah, I don't even know that I would really say it's keeping me from getting it. It's just, um, it's, I just can't deal with them, like living with them and being so, just the discomfort and the awkwardness between them and knowing that they don't support me.
Were you having difficulties with your parents beforehand?
Um, Not really. Well, I mean, sometimes they are just like a little bit controlling in like what
Mhm.
I do and who I hang out with and um, what I do after school and stuff. But
So, do you have any idea who the father may be?
no,
No. Do you have any idea of when you were impregnated by chance?
no, at least 3 weeks ago, I
Just
guess.
okay, gotcha, gotcha. So, what I'm sensing here is that your parents are a bit controlling, and obviously you enjoy your freedom. I can tell that. Um, so, I think the issue might be that your parents maybe possibly feel that they warned you, uh, even though that was a very oppressive way of doing so. And it's possible that they see this entire situation as something that could have been prevented, but that's simply asking you not to be having fun. And I'm guessing you've been having fun, right?
Yeah.
In your social life? Okay, that's good. Um, so, whenever you discuss this with your parents, is it always immediately hostile, or do you? Okay, I guess first I should ask, who usually instigates the discussion? Is it you or your parents? Do you feel?
Definitely them.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's, I mean, just because they're the ones that are opposed to it. So they're the ones that are trying to input their opinion on it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so and when they instigate it, is it a matter of you not instigating because you would rather not talk about it, or because you feel that it's just going to escalate so quickly? Um,
Both, and I usually just know how it's gonna end, and they're gonna just get mad at me, and I'm gonna get mad at them for getting mad at me.
mhm.
And so I either try to avoid any kinds of conversations about it, or I mean, basically, I can just kind of tell that they're like general, like they just don't like it. So I
Mhm.
think that's what I just try to avoid anyway.
So you're essentially what you're saying is you don't necessarily want to discuss this because you feel that it's immediately going to have some sort of negative reaction.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So whenever you discovered that you were pregnant, did you find out just by taking a pregnancy test, or were you experiencing issues, or?
I took a test, just like an at-home test, and then I
Mhm.
took a blood test, like at the health center at school.
Gotcha, gotcha. So, so you're pretty sure that it wasn't any kind of faulty.
Yeah.
So you got two sources for that. Um, so whenever you told them, I imagine it was right after you found out, or did you have some time to kind of settle down?
I waited a little bit just because I kind of knew that they wouldn't approve of it anyway. And then that's kind of when I decided that I just wanted to get an abortion.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually kind of more discussing it with my best friend, and she convinced me to tell my parents about it. And so,
So let's let's head back to what you first said. How long is a little bit, or would you be comfortable disclosing that?
what do you mean?
You said you waited a little bit before telling your parents. So about how long would you say that was?
Um, it was about a week.
About a week. Okay, so um, you did have it seems so. It seems like you had plenty of time to sort of settle down after finding out
Well,
and just kind
I
of
guess
collect yourself.
I talked to my yeah, I talked to my friend more a
Mhm.
couple days after I found out, and then that's when and I told her that I wanted to get an abortion, and that's when she convinced me to tell my parents. So yeah, I think it was like about a week, whenever
Gotcha,
like
gotcha.
within the week that all went down.
Okay. So with this friend, do you know her feelings about your consideration of getting an
I
abortion?
mean, she's my best friend, so she's gonna just kind of. I know that she's gonna support me, whatever, like no matter what. Um, I think that she had a good point in telling my mom or my
Hmm.
parents, but it just kind of backfired.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't say that your plan necessarily backfired. I think what you may have unintentionally done is told your parents in a way that they personally may not be able to reconcile with. Um, because, as you said, your parents are conservative in their mindsets. So it's possible, like, this already is going to be an issue they feel very strongly about, especially since you're their daughter. So, what I think might be a good thing for you to do is try to begin the conversation with your parents yourself rather than waiting for them to make some kind of remark toward it. While obviously it might take a few attempts, like they still might be adamantly against it and possibly even insultative to you about the process, but it's a matter of building that discussion between people to which we can find compromise and simply avoiding the issue entirely, which is what it seems like you have been trying to do. That's not going to solve anything, unfortunately. Now, I know you have a friend who seems like a very strong support for you. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And you know that she will support you. You said it was she, right?
Yeah.
You know that she will support you in whatever decision you make.
Yeah.
That's good. It's always good to have her. So I would also make sure to keep her updated on everything you're going through because it sounds like she's got your back and you need that in a tough situation like you have right now. But honestly, I'm not going to tell you what you need to do. I personally believe that you should do whatever you feel is the best thing
How would
for
you
you.
what do you think would be the best way to approach it with my parents
With your parents,
in a non-defensive way?
I would just say to be open about it. And what I mean by that is, see, what you've been doing is you've been immediately jumping to a negative conclusion before the process has even started. So immediately before you even say anything, you're immediately thinking of the negative chain reaction that's going to happen afterwards. And while that may be true to some extent, while you may have a point and while you may have history and experience to back that up, by doing that, you're automatically going to feel some kind of tension whenever you bring the topic up. So, what I would say is just try as best as you can to go into the discussion with a cleared mind, a positive outlook. I can recommend you some breathing exercises, controlled breathing, to help kind of soothe your body and soul essentially before the process begins of discussion. That way you can clear your head a bit. Just the ultimate thing that needs to be done is it can't be gone in with a negative attitude because when you have a negative outlook on it, you're going to just naturally form a negative attitude. And whenever you present yourself with that, your parents are also going to immediately take a negative stance on it. So, my advice for you in this situation, first of all, keep the dialogue between you and your friend going because no matter what happens with your parents, no matter what you decide to do in the end, she's going to be there for you and she's going to be a very good network of to where you can rely on her for just emotional stability. Second, I think a good thing for you would be to practice some kind of mindfulness exercise. It sounds like you are very stressed out right now about your situations, and I can certainly imagine why you would be. One thing that I like to do is breathe in for 3 seconds, hold that breath for 2 seconds, and then breathe out for 6 seconds. You want to try and practice that with me?
No.
Okay, but if you feel like that going on that on your own, just remember it's 3, 2, 6, and that is very good. That helps you clear your mind and everything. So, lastly, I just recommend trying to keep an open dialogue with your parents because ultimately it is your decision, but at the same time, um, you want to keep a good relationship with your parents, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So if you continue to let this kind of just take a back seat and allow that to be, and you allow that to take hold of the atmosphere, it's going to be negative for much of the time. And that can eventually melt away, but the issue is that that's not being replaced by any kind of positivity. And I think if you begin to engage your parents with positive dialogue surrounding your decision and surrounding your life choices, you might start to see them to become more accepting, less controlling of what you do, because at the end of the day, you are your own person, and they need to be able to respect that. Did everything I say make sense here?
Yeah, that
All
was
right.
helpful.
All right. Well, our time is up. I greatly appreciate
Thank
you taking the time to see me. Thank you very much. Oh boy, that sucked.